We are back with the Buffalonian podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and I'm joined by Dom Loss and our very first special guest we have on today. We have Scott Rubin, the producer, co-director, and screenwriter of the Unbelievable movie. Awesome project. We're going to bring him on here in a second. Here he is.
Hey, wow. I'm best boy, gaffer, that. I'm fundraising, filmmaking, oh my God, they need like an entire movie just for the credits.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like Apollo Creed's nicknames. You got to let them keep rolling, just let them keep rolling through.
Apollo Creed's nickname.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I just talk. What should I do? Or hum? All right, I'll hum.
I mean, you can hum if you want, but we're going to talk about this fantastic project that you guys have going on. I saw it on Twitter for the first time. I saw you in the video, and I thought this was just awesome. Like, why has no one done this about the Bills Mafia? Like, a love letter to them. But before we get into the movie, I just want to ask you. So, clearly, you're a member of the Bills Mafia. You have a Bills hat on now. You're making a movie about the Bills Mafia.
I could be very bald. It's one or the other. I'm just covering. Like a
You're either a real true fan
or you'll just have to see the movie to know why I'm wearing this hat.
Yeah, keep them guessing. Keep the teasers going. Come on, you gotta bait people to watch it. But what is how long have you been a member of the Bills Mafia? Just to start off,
is there official membership? Do you get a card?
I think it's when you've gone through your first episode of like a heart attack watching a game, which happens very frequently. So.
First heart attack. Bills fans should be studied, like in terms of, they give you like a stress test for like in a cardiologist. Like Bills fans are unique. We should all be dead.
Yeah.
Our hearts were not designed to handle a Bills season, let alone, a generation of Bills seasons. And in my case, multiple generations of Bills seasons. How I'm even here, I'm in the ethereal world right now, talking to you from another dimension because I died in the 60s. All right? Where do you want to go? How far back do you want to go with this? Okay.
I mean, it's far back.
Oh, 64. Well, we actually won. I mean, we won 64.
No, you're 64, 65.
You know what that was like? You guys, you don't really know.
No.
That was, we didn't have to play the NFL at that time. So in our delusional minds, we thought we won it all. Of course, we were like this little league that no one cared about. But it was Buffalo, and we bought in, man. I mean, we were the champs. And like, if you ever like went to another city, they never even heard of the Bills at that time. Unless you were like a crazy football fan. And there were people that watched the AFL back in the 60s that were like from other cities, but there weren't many, but it was just enough to keep the league going. What am I talking about? Having a heart attack? My first heart attack? My God. Realizing. All right. I remember O.J. Simpson, his rookie season, and I think he got injured in a kickoff return, like right off the bat, Like what? Oh, no, it was even worse. It was in training season that he couldn't wear 32. Somebody had 30. It wouldn't give him 32. And he had to wear 33 on his helmet. And 33? So wrong, 30. I think that's why he murdered two people. It started there. The 33 just threw off everything. He couldn't handle. But 32, he finally got. And then, like, he hurt his knee, like in a kick. And he sucked. O.J. Simpson sucked. And he was like, we were celebrated. The mayor came out, gave him a key to the city when he came up. It was the biggest thing that ever happened to Buffalo, that we got O.J. Simpson. It was just unfriggin' believable. I mean, he was already doing like television and movies before he in college. That's how.
Right.
So year after year, he was just one of the greatest disappointments in history. And in 1971, he had determined he was going to retire and just like pursue a Hollywood career. And that was the great disappointment. Like, so not only were we bad enough, think about it, to get O.J. Simpson, to be able to draft him in both leagues at that time, we had merged, that he sucked. And we were just pathetic at a level like 1-13 seasons, just it was. So Lou Saban, the coach who brought the Bills to the 64-65 championship, Ralph Wilson decided to bring him back, like, and pay him whatever he wanted. Just, you got to come back and save this franchise, And Lou and OJ were on the plane returning from I think it might have been the Pro Bowl, the first Hawaiian Pro Bowl. They came back. Okay. They were on the same plane. They sat next to each other. This is an absolute true story told to me by Lou Saban. And OJ said, "Yeah, I'm not coming back next year. And I'm going to retire and I'm going to do movies and stuff." And Lou said, "No, I'm going to be the coach. I'm the new coach of the Bills." And everybody on the team, including the water boy, has to block for you. And if they don't block, they're gone. So any wide receiver, like, even if they're great, and we had a great wide receiver at the time, Haven Moses, gone because he wouldn't block. So it was like a curtain. It was like a wall. And they just unleashed OJ to the world. And it immediately worked. And he was like right back like where he was in college. And it was just, oh my God, it was unbelievable. But the problem was, it was the early 70s. And what team was in our division in the early 70s?
The Miami.
Yeah. Never lost a game. Miami Dolphins. Twice a year. And they knew they were the only team in the entire league that could stop OJ. Don Shula figured out some formula. OJ never got more than 55 yards, 60 yards. So we only went to the playoffs once. So, the heartbreak is endless, man.
Yeah.
Look what happened to him. The guy was on my wall. I had him on my wall, like, into my 50s, okay? The man was on my wall. Mm-hmm. And, we can't even talk about him now, although I'm talking about him now to you on this podcast. I mention him anywhere else. I'm canceled. They think I'm the gun. They try to kill me. They haunt me. I'm hunted. I'm a hunted man. They're hunting me now because that's the unmentionable one. So, it's a lot of heartbreak, but a lot of thrills, Yeah. That's, you don't stay this long, unless, my God,
They
got to give you a reason to keep coming back,
Something to come back to. I mean, he ran for 2,000.
O.J. Simpson. I mean, think about it. 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. Do you know what that was like? 3rd down and 8. Typical 3rd down and 8. Obvious pass play, 99% of the time. You hand it off to OJ in 3rd and 8, and he'd get it. The whole team knows he's getting it on the other side, and he got it. That's what it was like. It was insane. So, and then, the Super Bowl years, Kelly and that whole, and then the drought. And then the drought did me bad. You guys grew up in the drought, right?
We were, they weren't good until we were in high school when they drafted Tyrod Taylor.
They didn't make the playoffs until we were like 15.
Yeah.
So. How did you survive that? How did you stay a fan?
It was tough. I can say that.
One of life's many questions. I don't. They were just good enough in September and October where you had hope, and then by November and December you were looking at mock drafts.
You're right about that. That horrible long period. But even in that horrible long period, there was still those seasons where, like, oh, this is it, man. Wasn't that like the Trent Edwards? We went 5-1 with Trent Edwards or something like, and then we ended up losing like every game, and then we like JP Losman. Remember, like suddenly, oh my God, he's got it together. And then we lost that Pittsburgh with their that Pittsburgh game at the end of the season, where they had all their like third stringers in, and all we had to do was win that last game. Do you remember? I don't even know what year it was. During
Yeah, 04.
the 04.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2004.
Yeah, I was on a plane watching that on a plane. I begged the pilot to take the plane down, to crash it. I wanted to crash.
Oh man. Yeah, crash it like the Bills crashed that game.
Yes, I mean, how do you continue? They lost to the third string Steelers. I mean, in a must-win game. Like, I think it was a home game, right? I'm like, it was.
I think so.
So, like, I mean, that one, by the way, that hurt as much as like the Music City Miracle. I mean it. Like, that was painful.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
A heart attack? Are you kidding me?
Quite a few.
Mafia, you're giving like an iron heart. You're giving some supernatural kind of crap, man. Something's going on.
Yeah.
You know? That's the card. That's the card membership. A heart of gold. A heart of iron.
And they still
got to be built different.
They still don't stop breaking your heart, you know. First playoff game Joe and I ever saw, they scored 3 points. We lost to Blake freaking Bortles. Like,
yeah. How did you feel after that?
I think
I remember feeling.
He had like one of the. I think he's up there. I can't remember who. Some last year, someone had like 6 completions in the playoff game and won. I think it might have been Purdy or someone. Mm-hmm. And there's a stat that Blake Bortles did that against the Bills or something like that. And I was like, well, that figures. And then of course 16-0 against Houston, blow that game.
Yeah.
Get absolutely slapped in the AFC Championship game by the Chiefs. 13 seconds. This year's like complete. I said that, I think everyone has the same sentiment.
Goes down as.
I mean, even if ran longer than us, but like, I think that would be one of the most unenjoyable 13-win seasons you could probably ever have.
Yeah.
It was like every game felt like it was like tooth and nail when you're like playing the Jets, who have Mike White as their quarterback.
I know.
Yeah, I chipped my tooth biting my nails in that Jags playoff game, I think, because I was so nervous. Like the whole time, I was just like antsy, and then my whole front tooth chipped in half. So that was the experience coming out of that game.
Still for you, by the way, like you know, like what the injuries that we've.
Oh yeah.
Like because there's really odd injuries, you know, like chipped teeth, you know, giant hole of hair, like non-hair right over here, you know, you ripped out. You know, he was telling me in one of my videos they threw like something into the TV and they smashed the hell out of it. But that doesn't sound. But like there's things that we've all done, you know. Like,
yeah.
Chip tooth. You gotta, you know. I love to know what they all are. I'll listen. I promise. You know. That's
quite a story. Well, at least Joe. At least when you knew when they put Nate Peterman in, it was time to stop biting. The game was over.
Yeah, I think I didn't walk away because I'll never walk away from a Bills game. I feel like that's just bad juju if I do that.
Yeah,
but I turned off mentally after that happened. So,
well, I think the biggest heart attack I ever had watching a Bills game was that Colts playoff game when they actually won. It's something. That was a close one.
Even the pandemic.
Yeah, even when they win, they still give you a heart attack. You know, Hail Mary gave up 2 of them on the season. Somehow going to get Phil Rivers. Thank you.
That game, by the way, that Ravens game, you know, in our stadium, we were 6,000 people. I actually, you know, and I didn't go to a lot of games, but I was at that game, and I mean, the seat I had, you know, because there were so few seats, so we had like the best of just a few people were there. I mean, I might as well have been strapped on the back of Deion Dawkins. I'm going to tell you, it was a little uncomfortable at first, but it was a great seat. It was a great seat. That stadium was more loud. I know this is crazy, and I can't prove it, but because we all had our own benches to smash because there was nobody sitting in front of us. So everybody kind of had the same situation. So we were all pounding on the seats. So there was Lamar Jackson remember he was like about to score a touchdown. He fumbled or something.
Yeah.
Signals. Think about it. There was 6,000 people in that stadium. He couldn't hear. his own signals. He didn't know what he was doing. And that's being a Bills fan. That was a beautiful. And then we had that interception.
He got knocked out of the game, which was crazy. That game went absolutely like everywhere.
Justin Tucker
and then
misses 2 field goals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's one of the great Bills games, man. Like when you really think about it, like that was just
had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're doing the film Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Can you talk a little bit about the project? How did you get the idea started? And
so, all right. So in 2012, I decided I actually believed, and kind of still do, that there's a little bit of a curse on Buffalo sports teams.
I think you could get a few people to back that argument. I have a
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was up to somebody to explore this and once and for all figure out what this was and is. We love the Sabres, and I grew up with the French Connection and the Stanley Cup finals. But we didn't win. We didn't win the finals. And then we had probably 2 or 3 really good teams since then that didn't win the finals. And that first time, nobody really expected it, with the Sabres. We were just grateful. There was I think like a 20-minute ovation, thank you, Sabres. I don't know what the but it was amazing. It was an amazing time.
Yeah.
Amazing time for Buffalo sports in the 70s. You had OJ, had this French Connection, and a really good Buffalo Braves team. They were always kind of good. And then then at the end of their span, they were great. Like we had a great NBA franchise.
That's crazy to think about. Like just in general, like having an NBA franchise in Buffalo that was at the same time amazing. Like
they were great.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, but we had to play. We couldn't get past the Celtics, in the playoffs.
Boston
and they
teams
were amazing, and then we lose our franchise at their peak, like what the hell, and so, and then obviously the 4 Super Bowl losses, the Music City Miracle, name it all, right? So there's so much. So at a certain point, you wake up and you go, all right, enough of this. All right, I am going to be the guy. Somebody's got to do it. I had just finished my run at National Lampoon for 10 years. I worked there, and I could just do anything at that point in my life. And I just decided, I'm going to do an indie film. I'm going to just, figure out what it could be, and we'll just, it will take us wherever it goes. And be careful when you do a Breaking the Curse movie, okay? Because what happens to a Breaking the Curse movie? It gets cursed, okay? Mm-hmm. The hard drive was lost of all the footage.
Oh, my gosh. The curse doesn't want to be figured out.
Sounds like, all right, Scott's making it easy. No, it happened. It happened, okay? And that put me into a depression that you really can't. Like, imagine you're doing a year of shows,
right?
And and you think, oh my God, they were great. We got it all covered. Only to wake up realizing that they never aired. You thought they aired. The AI was sending comments to you, just like somehow got you. And
it was all simulation.
It never happened. So, there were little bits and pieces of surviving things. Me running with the buffalo, like in Yellowstone, like Wild Bill Code, with a few things. I visited Buffalo Bill, the hometown of Buffalo Bill, and which has a lot of curses in the little town. Everything's called Buffalo Bill in near North Platte, Nebraska, I think. Yeah. I think it's Nebraska, where Wild Bill Cody who ran Wild West shows in the 1890s. He became one of the biggest stars in the world. It was international, like, Cowboys and Indians show, or, and then horses and buffalo. And he put them all on a train. He shipped them across the ocean, and he was a huge star. And that's where the Buffalo Bill, name, is kind of inspired from. So I thought, well, maybe there's something attached,
Oh, at the roots. You got to go all the way back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I gotta find the curse.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so I visited that town where he lived and rehearsed the shows and created it all in the 1890s. And the town is just one curse after another. And every street is called Buffalo Bill. The schools are called Buffalo Bill Elementary School. It's really kind of surreal. Okay, there's no S, but a couple of beers, do you really see an S anyway? All right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a town of Buffalo Bills, and it was crazy. Like I went into the house is haunted, where he, and oh God, I could just go on. There's so many things in that little run. And then the William McKinley, like breaking the McKinley curse, that the president was shot. At the time in 1901, he was William McKinley was like it was like Washington, Lincoln, and McKinley in terms of popularity in American history. He was hugely popular president, which people don't know about, and he was assassinated just like 5 blocks from our house here in Elmwood Village. And the thought was that we didn't possibly honor his death properly. That was the idea, because as a kid, I had a friend that lived across the street from the little plaque that's laid there on the island, the little green island of the street. There's a little tiny plaque. Yeah. And dogs used to shit on, crap on the monument constantly, and it was like a go-to place if you were a dog, and I know if I was a dog in that neighborhood, right to the McKinley Monument. I mean, like, right. And so we got a curse lady to hover over the McKinley Monument, that little thing, and like kind of do something with me, a little thing. And then all these people started coming out of their houses, watching us filming this. This footage is completely lost, by the way. And they said, "My house is haunted. You want to come in my house?" And they had all these stories on that street. I think it's either Chats Fordham or Chatsworth. Right? You can't miss it. Yeah. Flag. And they all have stories about how their houses are haunted over there, and which is freaky. And I didn't know about that. And then it became like, and I'm not kidding you, genuinely frightening. I went in, I witnessed a kind of a supernatural thing, scared the hell out of me. Okay. Absolutely ran for my life. And then it was just like one thing after another. Now, do you guys know about the, and this will be an Unbelievable, the movie. I've gone off on the curse aspect of the movie. But we were doing videos out by the stadium. Now, you guys got to know, if you saw any of the videos that we got up on the Unbelievable Facebook site, we came across, I always thought this, for some reason, I never bought into, like, there's an Indian burial ground, that the Ralph Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Name the state, whatever name we're going with. Hi, Mark. That there was it's built on an Indian burial ground, and that kind of thing, and like that's like every theory of every curse, the Indian burial ground. It's kind of the go-to thing, right? So we're doing this thing. We go into the tents where we got Bill's Mafia. They're making a stew. The guy's eating buffalo meat. He's got buffalo meat sloppy Joe. I go, aren't you tempting fate with that? Like on the tough game. Really, you're eating buffalo meat. And they didn't even they didn't really get the irony of that. And then he grabs me, one of the guys, and he walks me towards the stadium. And I go, "Where are we going?" And he goes, "We're going to the cemetery." You guys know about this?
No.
Okay. What do you mean? We are 50 feet at this point from the turnstile. I don't know, maybe there's 4 or 5 turnstiles in the whole stadium to, get in.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know the exact amount, but at least 3 and maybe 5, Well, this is one of the big ones. So I said, "Well, why are you taking me to the turnstile?" And he goes, "Look to the left." And I look to the left. Remember, 50 feet from where you go into the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's this old rusted fence, and it's like white noise to the eyes. You do not see it. You can't see it. It's got like weeds growing on it and vines and and I look in and I go, it's an old grave, like with gravestones turned over and ancient tombstones, And I go, what the? I was doing I thought this was a myth. He goes, "No, this is the Shelton Cemetery, family cemetery." Oh. And I have personally witnessed bottles being tossed in here and, people, like urinating and like,
oh my gosh.
And he goes, "This is going on decades." And this cemetery is one of the very first cemeteries in all of Western New York, built on the cemetery itself is built on an Indian village. Okay. So there's triple curses, quadruple curses, and it's right there at the turnstile. Wow. Of the stadium. And no one, and I go, "Do you guys know?" And people are, "No, we don't know. What are you talking about?" They wouldn't believe me. Like I didn't believe it. Wow. Well, it's there.
So I have to ask then, do you think the curse could potentially be lifted once they build the new stadium, or do you think they're still building on the grounds?
Because it's still like right there.
Yeah, it's just across the street.
They're moving. The stadium's going to be in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then, so in theory, that cemetery now is going to be in the middle of like the tailgating. It'll be like, it's going to be like a horror movie. They're going to come up from the grave and kill Bill's Mafia during like a tailgate. What do they do with that?
So you're saying it might hurt the fan experience?
It actually make it work. What could be worse, by the way?
Well, it could help the team. It could help the team potentially. So anything for the team.
We could lose the team. That's good. But once they build that stadium, that it kind of ensures that at least we got like 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, all these Austin Bills rumors. Yeah. No, none of that.
You know what's interesting about all this stuff? That as fans, because of what we've all been through, we're now as interesting as the players.
Right. Yeah.
And quite possibly more interesting. It's turned us into this, a crazy person. Okay. You guys, a podcast about Billy, you should be working. Yeah. Work. We got to talk about the Bills and the Sabres. We got to talk. Why? Why do we have to? Because they've got to win already.
Yeah.
So
you gotta do it.
So that's what this Unbelievable the movie's about. Mm-hmm. It's about us and what we are. So they all come together. There's 3 generations of like one family. Grandpa and all the way down to the young kid. And for the big watch party, the Bills have made it back. And this is the game that was the one that was supposed to happen now.
Yeah.
Right? That we all kind of thought, well, this is it. Especially the way, the DeMar thing, and he came back, and we all imagined him like on the scoreboard going, all right,
yeah.
And, but it didn't happen. So if it can't happen in real life, wouldn't it be
Let's
cool?
do it.
What if? So the movie's a what if, like this happened to us, like one family obsessed for generations, Everything that could go wrong goes wrong during the game for them to watch the game. So the challenge of watching the game has become even greater than the Bills winning their first Super Bowl, So it's and each character in the movie kind of represents kind of a different aspect of us and a different way of coping. We all have our own kind of version of, there's the person. So there's a person who can't even, and I bet you guys know people like this. They can't really they're like the last stage of this, they can't really watch the game because it's like it's too much. But they're watching it, but they're not watching it. So they're in the other room knitting, or whatever, and then they
doing the taxes
because they it's too much for them. They can't handle it,
Yeah.
So like person, and then there's like the person who's superstitious, who everything has to be. And and it's just on. And then the person that's out after the first, like bad play. I'm done with them. I'm done. And then they kind of crawl.
The yeller.
Back. You see them crawl back at the second quarter. So there's all these various versions of ourselves. Our coping mechanisms and stuff. And that's what. So the movie's in a sense a fantasy of what if it happened. And also, but it's really about us, about how did we come about? How did this rabid fan base come about? And what are they really like if you walked into their home, on, the big game, So
Right.
That's what it's about. And you can be part of it. You can support us on Indiegogo.com. Unbelievable. Check out the campaign. We're just about to meet our goal. So you could be the difference.
Yeah. And I think personally, this is going to spread like wildfire around the city because, like you said, there are people who are going to be able to identify with the person who goes, I'm done. The person knitting in the other room, like you said, like it kind of hits on what everyone feels, what everyone goes through while watching even a regular Bills game on a normal Sunday at 1 p.m., and it's definitely, like you said, the fans at this point are more interesting than the team because ESPN made that 30 for 30, the Four Falls of Buffalo, right? That movie, which was really cool. But at the same time, the fans were very rarely featured in that. That was all about the players. And I feel like the fans are such a huge part of the team, we're as much of a part of the team as the players are, I feel like, and the identity of it. And to see that being really realized is really cool. So you mentioned fundraising goal. I think the goal on the Indiegogo was 36,000 around there.
Yeah. Well, the real, our goal was 23. Okay?
Oh, beautiful.
So we put 36 because, that's kind of the dream goal for us.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll probably hit it after we're having we're doing a telethon.
Oh, that's awesome.
On Friday. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have all sorts of open mic acts from Western New York and the great acts on the shadowy hidden stages of, God only knows where, the puppeteers, magicians, comedians, impressionists. And also we're gonna have the Bills, like the super fan Bills Mafia, all the big. Well, I can't announce them yet because I don't know who signed up, but like quite a few of those, characters that we see featured. But getting back to like how we're more interesting, because look, the players, and God love them, and we all follow them, and they're our heroes, and they work their asses off. I mean,
right? Yeah,
what a pro athlete has to do, and they do charity, and they're incredible. They come and go, and some of them come and go pretty quickly.
Yeah,
we're always here. Like, we're always here, and we just become more and more ridiculous of human beings. We get better as fans. We're like in this ultimate training camp. It's called being a Buffalo Bills fan. The generations building this Bills Mafia, and now we are monsters. You know,
Yeah.
Monsters Bills, the greatest fan base in the world. You know, that's what they've created. You know,
Yeah.
and now we're pretty happening because we're insane and all our little quirks and things. Think how inventive everybody has gotten.
Oh yeah.
When you go through those, tailgate. I mean, it's
You're squirting ketchup and mustard on pinto ron. Like where did that come from? Like all that kind of stuff,
the doing shots out of a bowling ball. Did you guys do that yet?
No, I can't say I've done it, but I've seen it happening, and it's just it's unreal. And then the table smashing. Like where did that come from?
Really, I'm still getting vaccinations from the shot, from the amount of germs that I was exposed to
in the bowling ball
during a communal bowling ball shot.
Oh.
We went right from you can't leave your house, you have to wear a mask, to taking a bowling ball that everybody, the whole stadium has passed around and shot. Somehow that's okay. So human beings need to be dissected because we're out of our minds. Okay, I mean seriously, So yeah, I went from that Ravens game where I had 18 masks on and they took blood at I think at the gate to doing just what 2 years later doing shots out of a bowling ball, a communal bowling ball.
Yeah.
So, and it was dirty and everything. I know he tried to clean it. He had wipes and God bless him. I don't know his name. Maybe bring him on the telethon and we could do those shots again. I haven't heard one bad thing about those bowling balls.
No.
Bowling ball shots. I can't even believe that's what I'm talking about. Bowling ball shots. These are our people. These are our people. And the dishes, the food that everybody's cooking. You ever really look at it? It's incredible. And they all have to top each other every game. And they share with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tailgates have gotten absolutely insane. I mean, just where I go, one of my parents' friends has a house right around the corner on Abbott, right? So they sell their $30 for a parking spot and everyone brings food and shares it. It's just absolutely unreal. And then you can walk around and just people are so friendly too. Just you walk up, they'll do anything. It's crazy, It's so cool to be a part of it, truly.
What do you say if you've never experienced that, and every year it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
I talked to the Dolphin fans that showed up and the Bengals fans.
Yeah.
The Dolphins fans their minds were blown.
They're shocked.
They were no, seriously, completely out of their mind, and they loved it. I mean, they loved it. They were hugging us. They were it was just insane. These are the Dolphins.
Yeah,
man.
the rivalry of the East, the Dolphins and Bills, and hugging. That's crazy.
They were hugging and into it, and and I get it. It's like a wonder of the world, man. Like the Bills tailgate scene, running with the Bulls in Spain or something. It's at that level.
Yeah. No, it's a thing that you have to do if you're around the area and the Sunday's coming up in the fall. That's a must do. Even if you don't go to the game, you can still pull up and tailgate. I
know.
Don't have to have a point.
Think about it. Dom, think about it. You can go to the game. You don't even have to go to the game anymore. You just have to see us.
You get the game day experience without even having the game.
I know. And it's unbelievably, it's so much fun. And everybody's happy. And, And the drinking game, the games everybody comes up with. That's another thing, how inventive. And the costumes are so inventive. And it just every year everybody tries to outdo each other.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're awesome, Bills Mafia, man.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, we suffered together and now we're here. So
yeah.
As you're starting this journey of now starting to maybe potentially start reshooting, I guess. What has been your favorite part of the journey so far, from 2012 to now?
It's always working with people that like share your vision, and want to be part of it. And it's so much fun. Like there's such a good, like we're over, we have a studio over in Niagara Street. And people come over, they volunteer, the casting. It's so much fun working with people that really want to be in the movie, you know, and working with them. We're all kind of like a big team and family. And, you know, because that's kind of how it is anyway with the fan base. So this is like an extension, you know, of our love of Buffalo sports and our pain of it. So it's just like, kind of nonstop laughs. Like, even though people are working really hard, it's like really a lot of fun. I mean, like, look, well, you guys have fun doing what you're doing. You know, it's the same.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what, like, you get to turn your pain and suffering into something, you know, fun and that people like, and you know what I mean. That, like, I mean, isn't that
over
really why we're all kind of doing this? You know, like,
yeah.
Instead of just sitting at home, you know, getting too dark and, you know, and brooding all the time, to turn it into something, you know, and I mean, I guess it's kind of like what life is. Also, another favorite part of mine is how we, I was doing a piece about, you know, a promotional video about the rock pile. And while I was over there, shooting, a man opened the door to one of those giant wall gates. There's only two giant things that survived. They're both the gates, but I always imagined them that they were just gates, like you just walk through that wall. Turns out there's like a building in there, like a 3-story building. He walks in, he waves me in. Next thing I know, this thing is a community center for the East Side, for youth, you know, to try to train them and make them entrepreneurial. And we teamed up with them, and they're making our T-shirts at the rock pot, because they were given these silk screen machines and heat presses, and
wow.
And we thought, how awesome would it be to make the T-shirts of this movie from the spot where the Bills were founded, literally, like, you know.
Yeah.
And that was pretty awesome. So, and then for that community working with us, you know, and they're all Bills fans, and then the community's coming together, and, you know, because we had that horrible top shooting, you know.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like a healing thing, and it's an entrepreneurial thing. So they're like our partners with the merch, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a big love letter to the, you know, people of Buffalo and the Bills Mafia. I feel, you know, it's the more I hear you talk about it, the cooler it gets, just how much is involved and how the people of Buffalo are getting involved. And, you know, I'm really excited to see how this turns out and whatnot. It's gonna be really cool. But I know, what are you hoping, like, your final message at the end of this? Are you hoping to say, Bills Mafia, it's looking up? Like, it's going to be okay? Or are you hoping to, you know, throw this curse out there?
That's a great question. All right, you know, I like that question. Because, like, why are we ultimately doing this? All right, so
yeah.
There's like a scene at the end, you know, like you can only imagine what happens at the end, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody does have a heart attack, you know. It's me, you know, like, I'm not the old man who's screaming, you know. And, you know, I'm the curse, you know. And there's a moment where they realize that, and it's a comedy, you know, the movie's a comedy, but it gets very heavy in places, you know. You know, like, if you guys, like, somebody said, like, you know, why do you do this? You know, like, why are we doing this? You know, at the end, because it's awesome to have a team that you care about, you know, like, that you really care about, and that I could go to any place in this city and they know how I feel about something that I kind of care about. And we instantly have a camaraderie, and we instantly, and then within families, it's like the touchstone, it brings families together, and it is with all the craziness and with all the arguments. And I'm never talking to you again. And then you're back the next week, because you disagree, if the Bills should have a bigger running game than they, and there's always some guy, they got a running back. They got to get a running. All about passing. No run. Forget running. You don't need a running back. And I'm never talking to you again. I'm never talking. I mean, you would have a fight over such a thing.
Right.
And yet at the time, it seems pretty real. And you can't take the other person. You have to step out into the garage and have a beer. So, but it's the things that we care, that it's our city, that they're various touchstones of our life. And I think ultimately we were all kind of better off that it happened this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think we would be what we are today without it happening the way it did.
It's awesome. Like in a weird, horrible way.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In the most twisted sense of the word, awesome and beautiful. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
When they finally get the job done.
I'm scared when they finally win. Like, will we be the same on the other side? That's why I want to make sure this movie gets made now.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think we'll be a bit of a different fan base after that. If that, but now we're just glorious.
Mm-hmm. We got that underdog mentality. I love it. Just like,
I know. And it's at a level that, the guy covering himself with ketchup and mustard.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we totally get it.
And especially after last season, I feel like the national media is kind of, you get your 3-year mini run, and now they kind of turn on you when you don't get the job done. So now it's kind of like the Bills are back to being kind of doubted fully. I guess the real fun begins. So you did say you want to get it out, the movie out before the Bills.
Yeah, we want to get it out for the new season.
Yeah. So do you have like a timeline of like?
We want to shoot it. We want to shoot. That's why the campaign is really important, because we're planning on shooting it in March.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already shot a little bit of some exteriors and things, but we're shooting. It's a big cast. There's like 17 actors that are, because it takes place like at this watch party, and you got to get, so to build that ensemble, they all got to know each other, and that's the trick. And the other tricky thing for the movie is that we're probably locked in the cast like the end of this week, and now we could shoot the snowscape exteriors, and I'm scared to death that we won't get those snowscape moments. So so we have to be ready to mobilize at any time from, like, let's say next weekend till like whenever it might snow, like, and in that way, that's really kind of crazy making,
It's always crazy depending on Western New York weather. You never know quite what you're going to expect, but
I know.
Yeah,
I would think we get another snowfall in March. It always seems to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're Bills fans rooting for that.
I know.
Yeah. Got to root against it to make it happen. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really cool project. So how many is the overall cast again, you said?
There's 17 like speaking roles, like real roles. And those don't and then there's like one-liners that aren't even part of that 17.
Oh.
So imagine if you had a Super Bowl party, it wouldn't be, 6 people.
Yeah, no, you'd have a shindig going.
Probably at least 12, right? I mean,
yeah.
So you have to make it real, like in that way. So, and then the neighbors, the people that live in the back of the house, neighbors, there's an accident, and they lose that, and they represent the kind of the characters that you might see at the Bills at the tailgate, that are like completely wasted and
Just gone.
They're breaking tables, but not professional table breakers.
Gotcha.
They're the ones that actually get hurt, but they don't realize it till the next day.
Yeah.
They've actually broke their spine, but they're still moving around. They come over, with the family, so because I wanted to make sure you're all represented,
Right. Yeah.
So if we're all represented, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. All demographics of the fan base, all ages, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I have one burning question for you before we wrap it up here. We're transitioning a little bit away from the film. This is just a Bills fan to Bills fan. All right. Yeah. So I hate to make you compare the two or pick between the two because both are awesome, I would say. But we were not alive for one of these players to play the game, right? Jim Kelly, would you take him or Josh Allen for a Super Bowl winning team? This is burning question. I know it's tough to throw you on the spot.
No,
like
I
this,
love it. No,
what are you thinking?
Right.
We never saw Kelly play in person, unfortunately. So that's the tough part about it for us.
I went to college with Jim Kelly.
Did you really?
Yeah, 1 year older than him. At University of Miami. So I saw him play and develop in college.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, very odd. And Lou Saban was I'm so tied into.
I'm so happy when they drafted him.
You imagine? I took when I was in LA for 35 years, and I just moved back a few years ago, right? So, somebody called me and said Jim Kelly's doing whatever that show was with Tom Arnold, and they used to sit around one of the early sports shows of the early.
Oh yeah, I don't
that show, and
yeah.
Jim Kelly's here. You can get his autograph. I'm a grown man, I'm like 40 years old, and I'm running. I'm on a show, and I go, guys, I got to leave. Jim Kelly's like in town, and what do I go home and I get my college yearbook.
Oh my God!
It's for him to sign it, man. And I'm like, he's got to be in here. There he is. And I go, this is the page, and I go, Jim, will you sign? And he goes, oh my God, I never saw this. You know why I never saw it? Because he was a year younger. He didn't get my yearbook. And my yearbook was when they won the Peach Bowl. So he was freaked out by the pictures,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And he was signing like every picture. It was really awesome. Then he started throwing me the football. And I always prided myself that I had a pretty good arm. I was so nervous throwing the ball with Jim Kelly that I literally could not throw it 3 feet. No, I could not. The ball would not. It literally just dripped. So Jim Kelly versus Josh Allen. Jim Kelly versus Josh Allen. Wow. Yeah, wow, that's
I know it's like a bowling ball shot.
We asked the hard-nosed questions here.
It's like a bowling ball shot. It's like a bowling ball. I mean, it says it all that it's really hard to answer.
Right.
But they're strangely very similar in terms of not in terms of physically but in terms of their kind of what games they would win and what games they would lose. Like the Super Bowls, Kelly would play like when Josh oddly he's not really there. You don't understand, where did that guy go that got the 400-yard, where is he?
Where was 41-7 Josh Allen playing Miami the next week?
Guy? Yeah. And Kelly would have those head scratching. Where'd he go? Where did Jim Bell go? Where'd he go? It's a big game. What's going on? So I had similar feelings, about that. But when they were both great, it's like it's like, how do you judge awesome? Like Kelly, the games were over. The reason that he doesn't have like insane stats, the games were over like in the early part of the second quarter.
Yeah.
So they would have to like bring it down, like it was already like,
start running
nothing, with half, like 3 quarters left. And then like you just, so I would take very slightly, just because he made it to 4 Super Bowls. I would slightly take Kelly, but it's very slight.
Yeah.
And Josh could, Josh has to get that, he has to win the Bengals game, that has to happen,
I think without an injured UCL, it might happen.
Pardon?
I think without an injured UCL, it could happen in the future. So apparently that was playing a part.
That might have been like just enough, to, he denied it, but that's Josh Allen. He would deny it, like
he denied it to keep playing the game. He doesn't want to go out, so
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't have it's like really
slight edge,
really slight. Obviously Josh is more athletic than Jim was, although very early on Kelly was a brute. He was supposed to play linebacker, if you remember. Recruited Penn State by Joe Paterno to be a linebacker.
Wow.
So he was tough, but then he by the time the Super Bowl years, he was pretty banged up, and couldn't really run anymore.
Mm-hmm. He tried though. He tried running, watching those Super Bowls a couple times. He scrambled, it was something, that's for sure.
Yeah. They both had the same heart, like all in, just
do or die for the team.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good question, man, because never really had to answer that. God, and I think I if like my nephew asked me that question, I would have answered it the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? So I'm not hiding anything. I think it really is
right. All the cards on the table.
Slight edge to Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I would say the same thing, or be like both are pretty much on par at that point. You know what I mean? Just cop out answer wise to get out of the question. But
Josh, like if he has, let's say he just goes on like a 3-year tear. I mean, his level, when he hits that level, I don't think I've ever seen anybody, like the 13-second game, like how he just took that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen any quarterback play like that. So when he hits his greatness, it's like, oh my God, like just where's the Hall of Fame? Just, I mean, it's just, insane. But, Kelly the throwing would just be so accurate and on. But, Andre Reed would catch those balls over the middle, and get horribly hurt and banged and could take it, he just somehow could take it. And that was the engine of that team, Andre Reed over the middle. I always believe that. And when they lost that first Super Bowl, Belichick, the defensive coordinator of the Giants at the time, he figured it out. It wasn't Thurman Thomas, although he was great and he was probably the MVP of that game. However, it was the engine of that team was Andre Reed over the middle.
Yeah.
He hit Andre Reed so hard. He came out with that giant piece of turf on his head, and that game was over.
Yeah.
We knew something was off that day.
Yeah. Well, well, that was a great answer to that question. I'm happy you answered it the way you did, because it's a burning question for a lot of people, I feel like, who, were true to Bills Mafia in the Super Bowl era and now, like, just who would you pick? But before we close out here, is there anything else you would like to share about the Unbelievable project? If you want to,
we're having the telethon.
Yeah.
Featuring everything, Bills fans and the local talents.
Yeah.
And and that will be Friday. And you go to the I guess the Facebook page, Unbelievable Facebook page, to find more information on that. And the Indiegogo campaign, which is really important. You know, we're making the movie with it or without it, but it's a better movie the more money you have. So the more that people can support it, the more of a greater chance we'll capture it, you know, capture what it really is, you know?
Yeah.
So we really need your help, you know, we need your support. And it's a real thing, you know? So Indiegogo.com, Unbelievable, and check it out, and or go to the telethon.
Yeah.
And give at that time, whatever it is.
All right. Yeah, I'll put those links in the description of the podcast as well, so people can directly click on them and go visit it. So we'll make sure that's seen so people know where to get it. But before we close, the way we always end our podcast is with the Go Bills. So I want to hear the best Go Bills from you.
Oh, wow. All right. This is good because, you know, I do this in the casting sessions.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, if they get it wrong, they'll like, like, Go Bills. No. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just because it's the last line, you don't just drop it.
Right, yeah.
But it has to be, you see, it can't be like some screen. It's got to be the one that bonds us.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, we're ready.
There we go.
It's hard to do it on cue.
Go Bills. Or
that.
Go Bills. Or I have a horrible thing. You know how we all say it to each other now, like, you know, like during the
hello,
scene?
goodbye. Yeah,
right.
Go Bills instead.
Go Bills,
yeah.
Go Bills. And it's now like it's said, like you'll see someone at the market, Go Bills, you know, like it's like barely on it. So like, how would I say Go Bills to you guys? How would you say it to me?
Let's say I'd probably be like, Go Bills. You know what I mean? Just like something like that.
Nice,
you know?
clear Go Bills.
Is that your best Go Bills?
No.
That's my best Go Bills for probably like, you know, just seeing someone walking around. I mean, it's happened to me. I've been in Florida and I've had a Buffalo t-shirt on. Everyone, I get Go Bills at me or AAA. You know what I mean? That's also sung at me. So I feel like if I'm at a Bills game, I definitely would. I feel like it's different, you know, but
I feel like the listeners in the car probably don't want us to scream at the top of our lungs, Go Bills right now. They might,
because that would be what it would entail.
Yeah. Reach the point where we're like, you know, like it's just like, but you have to say it.
Right.
It's weird. You got to say it.
Yeah.
So what's the best, you know, like Go Bills, you know, like that's kind of, you know, the best is how you would normally say it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Go Bills. That's how you got to say it. I mean, people are saying Go Sabres now in a Canadian accent, like Go Sabres, you know what I mean? Because the Bills are over for the season. So we're all Sabres people now, but
you know, we have a joke in the movie with the town floozy comes over, you know, like she's probably like a prostitute, you know, and now in the house, you know.
Yeah.
She's got the Go Bills tattooed on her breasts, like just the, you know, where if she pulls it down a little, you can see Go Bills. And she says, "There's more to that," you know. And they go, "No, there isn't. It's only Go Bills." There's like an angry drunk that's come over.
Yeah.
After Go Bills, she's just wasted. You don't know that. You don't know. And she turns around and she's like disgusting. You know, it's like she's hard to, you know. And no, let me show you. No, please, no, don't take that off. No, don't. And they're begging her not to remove what she's about to show. The rest of. So apparently, if you watch Unbelievable, there's more to Go Bills, and you'll just have to see what it is.
Just have to wait and see.
Let's have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it. Your first guest that we're you know, we tried doing the whole interview space. So
let me do it again.
But yeah, we wish you the best on this film. Can't wait to watch it when it comes out. It's going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. So shout out, give us a Go Bills, Dom, then you, and then we'll outro this thing. What do you say? Give it,
Go Bills!
whatever.
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.